Hey, what's up, everybody? Today we're gonna do another shoe review, and I'm really excited about this one because it is the Louie Lopez 2. Now, this shoe is pretty exciting because I went to Converse threw a party for this shoe. They pulled out all the stops. It was over in Hollywood. I've known Louie since he was a little boy, seeing him skate the Hawthorne skate park with his dad, Big Louie. And then I'm older than him, but we skated the M circuit at the same time. So I saw him, I've seen his whole development, him being a Southern California, an LA guy. Even though I think Louie is actually from like the South Bay, but still he's an LA guy, you know? And his first shoe was great. Now this shoe kind of takes a little bit of that design theory and puts a cup sole on it. And me being a 40-year-old skater, my body's taken a licking, right? So it is probably best that I start skating cup sole shoes. The problem for me is that vulcanized shoes just have so much more feel and grip to them. And I can sacrifice a little bit of feel for protection, but the grip is something that I can't do without. I need perfect grip. I need a lot of grip. That's why when I was buying shoes, I would buy Vans, because Vans are super, super grippy, almost to a fault in some situations. So I skated this shoe, and it didn't take me long to form an opinion on it. So let's talk about the shoe first all. So first thing, if you look at it, I think there's a shoe that it's gonna look similar to for most of you guys, and that's gonna be the Adidas Samba, all the way down to this tongue. But this is actually a pretty famous shape, and Converse actually did make shoes with this shape. And for anyone who was fortunate enough to go to one of the unveiling parties where they premiered Louie's part and they had a bunch of booths to do with the shoe, you were fortunate enough to get to look at what the design language in Converse's history that this shoe actually comes from. And it comes from a long line of soccer shoes. And there's a lot of shoes that have a design language similar to this. Like there's some older Asics and there's like kind of the Onitsuka Tigers and all of those. But Converse has always had, in the past at least, they haven't been making them in recent years, but in the past they've always had shoes that had this shape. And I got to look at kind of the evolution of those shoes at the premiere party, which was informative. And I'm a dork, I'm a geek, so I love that type of stuff. Now this shoe is a cup sole shoe. This is the suede variation. The silver leather ones were sold out. They were all gone, which actually, funny thing is, when I asked for more shoes, I already knew this was coming out, so I needed shoes, but I waited until this was about to come out to ask for them. And even then, everybody had already got them. They were all gone. So this shoe is in pretty high demand. And then I was told by the person that I talked to get my shoes that there'd be some more in. I asked for them, and they're like, yes, we have them, but the silver ones are all gone already. So I got some black suede ones, and I also got some of the tan suede variation, which I'm gonna skate. You'll probably see some street footage of me skating. Let's talk about the upper construction. So this has an interesting detail around the toe. There's actually a toe cap here. It doesn't extend all the way around this inside portion, but it does go all the way outside. And there's exposed stitching here. There's also some stitching here, which seems to be superfluous, like it's only for design, I believe. I don't think it's actually doing anything structurally, but what it might do is keep the shoe in place a little better than when there's just a big open toe box, because then it starts to blow out and stretch. So this panel ends with this Converse logo here, and this is made of leather as opposed to the suede of the rest of it. Now, what I love about this, I love that it has the toe cap, right? Because that's going to give you an extra layer here, presumably. And I love that the lacing is so high, because when the laces come all the way up here, they start all the way up here, you're less likely to rip your shoes. Now, in my skating of this, I did not do my normal treatment where I glue the edges, I'll glue the laces, because when I make the reviews of shoes, I don't want to do anything extra. I also didn't skate my insole. And let's talk about the insole that this comes with. This is the typical Converse insole that it comes with. It's pretty good. It is a nice rebounding foam material. I like it more than the Lunarlon insole that came in the Converse when I first started to get shoes from them, which was around 2016 or 2017. Because even though it's thinner, it's more dense. And so when I was skating this shoe, I didn't feel like I was lacking anything because I wasn't wearing my Remind insoles, which are the insoles that I typically wear when I'm skating shoes. I felt fine. I felt protected. I skated a ledge, which is like, it's a street spot. Actually, one of my team riders on Collage has a line at that spot in his part in the upcoming Collage video, which will be dropping soon. And then I skated the park rail and the park hubba and the park rail a little bit. And at no time did I feel like I was compromised because of not having my insole in. Whereas when I skate a vulcanized shoe, I definitely do. Now, this is a cup sole design, right? But this is a thinner cup sole. And it being thinner means that it's not going to be as protective as a chunkier cup sole, like, for instance, the Nike shoe that I reviewed a while back. But this is a pretty good hardness, and I felt protected. But the other beautiful thing is this has this gum rubber, and it's got a traction pattern similar to the CTAS, and it felt so grippy. Like, I cannot stress how grippy this feels compared to other cup sole shoes and even other cup sole Converse, like the fast breaks, for instance. When I skate fast breaks, sometimes I struggle skating them because they feel basically like a Nike Dunk. So if you're a fan of the Dunks from Nike, you'll be a fan of the fast break. For me, with Dunks, they've always been a bit too slippery, and that's the same issue that I've had with certain fast breaks. There was a black pair of fast breaks that were suede with gum, skated those, felt fine, had an amazing session. But a lot of times it's like a white bleached color on the bottom. This having this gum sole is a big plus. And it felt amazing. Now, let's also talk about this upper, right? So I'm going to take out my front foot shoe, and I'm going to show you that this shoe already experienced some wear and tear here. And this is just from that first session. And this is actually from the hour that I skated the ledges, right? I got this here. So that is a little bit of a durability concern as far as my opinion goes with this shoe. Now, I am 6'2". Today I weighed 209 pounds. I'm not sure what I weighed on the day I skated this, but it's probably something close. I didn't weigh myself that morning. I do skate hard. And I do skate quickly, like I got ramped up pretty quickly. So my results and your results may be different. But I will say that this is pretty quick for this to start to rip like this. Now, typically, I wouldn't worry about that because I would put some crazy glue around this part anyway. But if you're the type of person who doesn't want to put anything extra on your shoe, wants to just buy the shoe and wear it like that, this might be a little bit of a concern for you. It might not, depending on how you skate. Like, I know some people rip up this part of the shoe from their kickflips. That's never been something that's happened to me. I don't kickflip with that part of my foot, I guess. But everyone is different. And for me, there was a little bit of a durability concern here. It started to rip. But I did do a ton of tricks. And if you look at the tricks that I did, you'll notice that I was able to do like a kickflip crook, a kickflip front nose, a kickflip front 50 on that ledge. And I didn't struggle with those. And in fact, the kickflip crook that you see, that's the first kickflip that I did that day. And it took me like 2 tries to land it. And there's actually 2 of them that I landed. The first one wasn't as good because the benches I was skating were rusty and I would put wax on them. And it still wouldn't grind that well. But yeah, I was pretty amazed at how quickly I could do a good kickflip, because usually I set up a brand new deck with these. I skated the normal pepper grip, not the extra grippy XL or XT grip, but just the regular one, the sparkle grip. And it felt grippy enough And I was able to kickflip right away, which is like fantastic with a shoe on the first day and a fresh board and a shoe that I've never skated. And this shoe doesn't feel anything like any of the other Converse models. It has similarities in feel to something like a Fast Break, but this sole being thinner like it is makes it so that you can feel your board a little better, but you also still feel protected. And whatever gum rubber they're using paired with this pattern, the Chuck Taylor pattern, it works. The kick flips, if you look at the shape of this toe, this is a kick flip shoe. It also fits true to size. So this is a size 12. I typically wear a size 12. If I'm being honest, I could go up a half a size, like if I were walking around in them and just wanted to be comfortable. But for kick flips, my toes were right about here, just past this thing, right up on there. Felt amazing. I was able to do kickflips right away. You can tell that I was able to do kickflips right away because I chose to do kickflip front nose and kickflip front 50-50 on that ledge. And there was no ride up coming from where I was coming from, but I just felt confident in my kickflips. So then when I went to skate the rail in the park, I was thinking like, how is this gonna feel? Because I only have the stock Converse insole in here. I don't have my Remind insole. It felt great. I didn't feel any difference from when I used the insole that I usually use. I didn't struggle to control the board getting onto the rail at all. It was great. And I will give you I'll give you my opinion on this shoe right away. I think I'm going to give it an 8 out of 10. And to be honest, I would give it a 10 out of 10 because I need to start skating cup sole shoes. This is a cup sole. It does feel more stable. It does make my foot feel more secure. The only reason I give it an 8 out of 10 is because of how this started to rip early. And that's a durability concern. That's why I dropped it 2. Like if this had ripped a little less, I give it a 9 out of 10. Howdy, Future Norman here with a little bit of an update on the shoes and an inferior camera. So as it stands now, while I was editing, I've had 2 more sessions in the shoes. And I wanted to give you guys a little bit of a durability update as well as a rating update on the shoes. So here is, I'm gonna kind of tease you guys. Here is my switch foot. So this is the left shoe, I'm goofy footed. Here's the sole. And here's the actual flicking front foot. And if you notice, that little spot has some extra rubber beneath it. And also, I have had 2 sessions since recording the other part of this video, the initial part of this video. And today's session was a particularly heavy one from which I'll put some footage so that you can look at after I finish speaking. And this is all that's happened to the shoe. So I have to change my rating from an 8 to 10 to a 9 out of 10 because if you're gonna see today's session, it was a lot of kick flipping, skating higher ledges than normal and a very high ledge that you always see me skate. And yet this is all that happened to the shoe. Yesterday, I don't have footage from, but it was a street skating session and I skated quite a bit for about an hour and a half. And yeah, I don't have that footage because it was an actual shoot for a clothing company. But take it from me, it was a pretty heavy session. And yeah, this is all that the shoe's gone through. So I'll probably be able to get like another full week of skating out of this. And that's filming and everything. So I have to change my rating. I had to give a little update on that because yes, it ripped, but it's reinforced, which is awesome. And it didn't really rip past that point very much, which I'm freaking surprised. I'm hyped. These are probably gonna be my new all-purpose skate shoe and replace the One Star, which is what I skate the most now. You know, because shoes do rip and it is suede. And part of the trade-off with suede being the best feeling material, it's not the most robust one when you're skating it. Like I rip suede faster than anything, but it feels the best. That's why I want to skate suede. None of the other materials, like especially synthetic materials rip faster than suede and they feel slippery. It's rare that you get a synthetic material that grips the way that suede does. So this is a trade-off that I personally am willing to make. And even if I were buying shoes, I would still buy them because I glue every pair of shoes before I skated. So this early rip, it's not going to happen for me. But for you guys that don't like to do anything extra to your shoes, that might be an issue. The sole maintained its feeling the whole time that I skated it. The shoe does flex enough so that you can get those, like when I'm doing certain tricks like crooked grinds, I really push into the shoe and into the board to lock in that crook to get the pinch. And I was able to do that. In some cup soles, you're not able to do that. It feels like you're working with less flexion ability. That's not a problem in these shoes. Now, I didn't jump down a gap in them because the gap that was at the skate park I was skating, Lincoln Park, it had like some stuff on the ground and I didn't have a broom. I did kickflip the three stair there a few times. Felt normal. Didn't feel any weird. I landed all of the kickflips that I tried though, so I didn't bail. But the shoe felt great. So yeah, I'm going to give it an 8 out of 10. I think it's definitely worth skating. I think for you guys who want to protect your feet a little more, but you also want to still be able to feel your board. Like I know people have gone back to skating those really chunky shoes that were popular when I was young. And I'm so scared to try to skate a shoe like that, honestly, because like when I skated that Nike shoe, I forget the name of it because I think it was the PS8. That was a little chunkier and it was so much slipperier. And I never forgot which shoe I was skating. With this, I stopped thinking about the shoe and started thinking about my trick like pretty much immediately. And that's what I'm looking for in a shoe. I don't want to have to think about my gear while I'm skating. I want to be thinking about my technique. I want to be thinking about the cracks on the ground. I want to be thinking about, am I dodging that pebble? I want to be thinking about when should I squat in relation to where this obstacle is so that I can have the least amount of friction getting up there. And with this shoe, I was able to get to that point very quickly. And I was able to get comfortable and kickflip into the ledge, which kickflipping into ledge tricks is so hard because for real, kickflip is like the hardest trick. Like once you get to a certain level with your kickflip, where you're trying to kickflip and point it and catch it and have control, do it into grinds, make it look good. It's the hardest trick. Like a tray flip is like one of the easiest tricks for me these days because if my foot position's good and if I squat and if I pop during the proper point of my ascent back up, I'm good. I just stick my foot out and catch it and it's there. It doesn't have the front foot doesn't do as much. With the kickflip, the front foot is doing so much work and then I have to shift and catch it with the back foot that it's just the better you get at skating, the more you learn to appreciate kickflips and how hard it is to do a nice kickflip and especially a beautiful kickflip and a kickflip and catch it and land in something comfortable enough to come out of it. And this shoe allowed me to stop thinking about it, not think about the fact that I'd never skated this shoe before. There were no concerns as far as that went. And I was just able to skate. So if the little bit of a durability ding doesn't concern you, pick up this shoe. I can't say anything for the leather variant. I did see it and touch it, and it feels like a really good leather. It also feels like whatever they coated it with might be a little grippier, but I can't give you a recommendation on that one until I get to skate them. So, I got a lot of shoes left. It's going to be a couple months at least before I need more shoes. So I probably won't be reviewing those until I need them. But this suede variation, get it. It's awesome. Thank you to Cons and Scott for sending these to me. I really appreciate it. And this isn't definitely an honest review. I'm not sugarcoating any part of my experience with this shoe. It's just a shoe that I happen to like. I did mention the durability thing. Cool thing, these laces didn't get any abrasion on them from that entire session, so do with that what you will. I don't know if you guys are as crazy about laces as I am, but laces freak me out. Like in my closet, I have just like, You know how cats play with that big ball of yarn? I have a ball like that of shoelaces because I'm just paranoid. And like when I get the shoes and they have the extra laces, I throw them in there. Now I've started to not do that because it's just it's ridiculous at this point, and I need to actually get rid of some of them. But yeah, the Louie Lopez 2 is a major, major, major go, in the words of Floss, if any of you know who he is. And yeah, if you're looking for a thinner, vulcanized shoe that grips really well, has a lacing system where the laces won't rip, and is very lightweight so you can skate agilely, I would say pick one up. Thank you for watching. Consider joining my Patreon group. Don't forget to check out boardcontrolacademy.com to book lessons with me, and collageskateboards.com. Buy my pro board, buy the team boards, buy a t-shirt, buy a hat, whatever you want. Support us. Buy me a coffee. There's a link to that in the description as well. Peace.